Many families this time of year is the start of driver's training, and that can be a pretty daunting and scary thought for any parent out there. So, what about the legal rules? What does the law say about parents and young drivers? What do they need to know? Tom Sinas from Sinas Dramis Law Firm joins us. He's got the answers. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Todd. How you doing?
I'm doing well. We just were talking recently about a new distracted driving law. And okay, we always think about that with teenagers. Is there anything specific to those young drivers when it comes to distracted driving?
Yeah, there is. Of course, that new distracted driving law applies to all of us, including teenagers. But when this legislation was passed, there were a series of bills that amended different parts of Michigan law. And one area of Michigan law that has been amended with this new package on distracted driving is what some people know as Kelsey's Law. This was a law passed in 2013 that prohibited cell phone use by individuals with level 1 or level 2 graduated license, our teenagers who are learning to drive. And that was a good step forward at the time, but it had an exception that allowed teenagers to use cell phones in cars as long as they were using what the statute calls voice operated system that was integrated into the motor vehicle. We know how this works, right? People can make calls through their Bluetooth through their car, but using their cell phone. So the old version of Kelsey's Law, yes, it said that cell phone use was not allowed. However, it kept what I think you could call a loophole open for when teenagers were using voice operated systems integrated into the car. That loophole has now been closed by way of this distracted driving laws that are going into effect on June 30th. So now it's very clear teenagers cannot use cell phones while they're operating a motor vehicle. It doesn't matter whether or not the cell phone is connected to some device that's integrated into the vehicle.
All right, teenagers, time to put the phones down if it's even possible. When it comes to, say, legal liability, maybe a crash happens. What do you think is a big misconception? Now, there's got to be some gray area that parents have in their brains. Can you clear it up for us?
I think the biggest misconception that people have, because maybe they don't think about it this way, is they don't remember that Michigan has what's called an owner liability statute. And that makes it very clear that if you're the owner of a motor vehicle, you're on the title of the vehicle, for example, and you permit someone else to drive your car, and the person who drives your car then commits an act of negligence, carelessness, violates the motor vehicle code, and hurts someone else, you, the owner, are liable. And the statute actually goes further to say that there is a presumption that the vehicle is being driven with the knowledge and consent of the owner when the driver is an immediate family member of the owner. And so what parents need to remember here is if you own the car and you permit your child to drive, if your child breaks the law and injures someone, you, the owner of the vehicle, are automatically liable for that child's carelessness. It doesn't just apply to children. This owner liability concept applies across the board, but I think parents of teenagers need to remember that. They also need to remember another concept that we have in Michigan, which is sometimes referred to as negligent entrustment, which is just a fancy word that says, look, if you know or have reason to know that someone you're permitting to drive your car is not a safe driver, and that unsafe driver then goes on to injure someone else, then you, the owner, the person who allowed the unsafe driver to drive, you can be liable. So there's two ways, and could be more, but two primary ways where parents can be liable for the acts of a teenage driver.
Well, since you're talking liability and you just put the fear of God into many people, how about auto insurance? There's got to be something that can help in case these crashes happen. Is there any suggestions you may have in terms of auto insurance for these young drivers?
The biggest suggestion I have for families dealing with this is to be upfront, forthright, and transparent with your auto insurance agent or your auto insurance company. If you're going to have a teenager who is driving one of your vehicles, you need to let them know that. I know that this can be expensive, and oftentimes people think, well, I might be able to save a few bucks on the premiums if I'm a little incomplete about who's going to be driving this car. The problem is that if you've done that and then something terrible happens, there is a whole set of legal rules that can be applied that may result in your insurance coverage that you thought you had becoming void. This is a complicated area of law that is sometimes referred to as the rescission of insurance policies. And it's a much more complicated area than we can get into right now. But what I can say is that these problems come up when people are not transparent and forthright with their insurance agent or their insurance company about another person who's going to be driving their car. So don't try, as they say, don't try to be cute. Just be honest, forthright, and complete, so that if you need the insurance, if something happens, you have it.
Boy, saving just a few bucks now could really hurt you in the long run if something like that happens. So solid advice from Tom. And as always, I know you've got more information on this. Where can people get a hold of you?
They can find us online at www.sinasdramis.com. They can shoot us an email at info@sinasdramis.com. They can give us a call in West Michigan at 616-301-3333.